Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ultimate Fashion History for the very first episode in a new series that will run on the channel called Small Screen Fashion History This Week. And this first episode is for the week ending February 22nd, 2019. I'm going to try to drop these ones on a Friday because maybe I'll give you some inspiration as to what to watch over the weekend. I'll explain what it's all about in a second, but first, if you have yet to subscribe to the Ultimate Fashion History, you can do so at any point by clicking that little circle down there. Small Screen Fashion History this week. What's it all about? Well, it's just a quick weekly roundup of some great fashion history that I caught on TV over the previous 7 days on Netflix or BritBox or Acorn, Crave, Amazon Prime, YouTube, Apple TV, regular TV, you know, all of the platforms. I'm not going to talk about movies, either new or old, because it falls into fave film fashion, doesn't it? And fave film fashion is its own thing. However, if there is a movie that is only showing on the small screen, then I think I'm allowed to talk about it. So what great fashion history have I caught over the past week? Oh, I've caught so much fashion history on the small screen this week. Fashion history is everywhere, sometimes in the most surprising places, as you will see. Some of what I've watched is new, some is not new. Well, I don't have to tell you how excited I am that season 6 of my favorite period police procedural drama has started. Season 6 of Endeavour. They're showing it in England now, and so I am viewing it episode by episode quite nefariously through uploads on YouTube. Again, they have knocked it out of the park in terms of costume. Endeavour is set in the 60s, and we are now in 1969. And you can see they have done an amazing job at recreating that very edgy, trendy Bieber look of the late 1960s, that proto-deco revival moment. But what's great about Endeavour, all of the seasons, is that the costume designers, and there have been a few through the past 5 or 6 years, they always know that not everybody was so branché, trendy, and do a great job of showing what mainstream fashion looked like as well. This is a still from season 6, and you can see that Joan here she's fashionable, but she is not trend forward, as we say today. Also, take a look here. Look at Mrs. Thursday and how she is dressed. Again, so many people in the late 60s still adhered to that very early 60s sort of boxy Jackie Kennedy look. And in fact, that is a silhouette and a fashion idea that would continue into the 70s. Take a look at this still from season 6. Look at these 3 guys on the right. Look at Fred Thursday, and in the middle, his deputy. And you can see that they're really dressed as if it were the 1950s even, aren't they? With their skinny ties, slim lapels, tie clips. But then, look at the guy on the left. He is Endeavour's cocky new overlord. He looks like he could be playing bass in Badfinger or something. I really love it when period dramas realize that not everybody dressed in what we think of as the overarching fashion idea of any given time. Endeavour does this perfectly. Now, when I was all excited about season 6 of Endeavour coming out, some intelligence came to me that shocked me. Turns out that Rupert, my husband, had never really watched Endeavour. So this past week we have gone back to the beginning, which I think takes place in 1964 or 65, and we are going to watch every episode of Endeavour until he catches up, which means that I can see all of the fabulous costumes and wardrobe again, from the mainstream to the fabulously 60s way out. What else have I been watching this week? Ooh, well, of course, I'm still enjoying the incredibly creepy I Am the Night. Episode 4 was on Monday, and the costumes were completely fantastic, as always. Absolutely evoking 1965. But the whole cinematography and art direction in the episode was incredible, and costume designer Rona Myers was completely on message with her costume vision for the avant-garde artsy scene of 1965's LA. But my favourite costume moment in episode 4 of I Am the Night was Connie Nielsen's hot pink silk dress that she wears during a piece of performance art where she invites people to snip away at her dress. Fauna, the lead character, finally steps in and puts an end to this pretentious nonsense at just the right moment, because the end result ended up looking like this, a fabulous Rei Kawakubo type of look. I loved it. What else have I watched? Well, here's something I just discovered today. Roddy McDowall's Home Movies from 1965. There are about 25 of them on YouTube on a playlist. They have no sound, of course, but basically they're little home movies that Roddy McDowall took of his famous friends at play in the 60s at either his Malibu beach house or in their wonderful Beverly Hills mansions. They are visually fantastic, so glamorous. Rupert said that they look like Slim Aaron's photos come to life. Everybody's there. Natalie Wood, Paul Newman, Bob Wagner, Bob Redford, Betty Bacall. I'm being very familiar with the stars today, aren't I? Bob, Betty. But of course the reason I love these home movies is because of the fashion. These wonderful glimpses of real-life mid-60s summer fashion, like this fabulous sleeveless shift dress that Betty Bacall is wearing here. It looks like it might be Poochie, doesn't it? What a great look this is. And what about this wonderful swirling paisley dress that Natalie Wood is wearing here? These are an absolute delight to view, really nice to have on in the background if you're working on something else. I watched this a few days ago. It's a Netflix original movie. Did any of you catch it? It's called Agatha and the Truth of Murder, and it's a fictional account of what happened to Agatha Christie when she famously disappeared. I wasn't in love with it, but I loved the set design, the cinematography, and the costumes. I tend to shun period dramas set in the 20s, mainly because of the costumes. I think too often costume designers are seduced into doing that very flapper-esque do-de-o-do kind of thing. Everyone was a flapper in some period drama set in the 20s. However, in this production, I think they really got it right. It looked great. There was wonderful attention to detail. Not everyone was a flapper. And just on the costumes alone, I would recommend it, although I personally found the plot to be a little bit Scooby-Doo. What else did I watch this week? This week I watched episode 1 in a series called Rise of the Continents. It's about, yes, plate tectonics, and it's hosted by this lovely Scottish geologist whose name escapes me at the moment, but you all know how much I love my plate tectonics. Episode 1 was about Africa and how Africa formed, and you're thinking, how the heck is she going to tie this into fashion history? Aha! As part of the episode, this lovely Scottish gentleman explains how diamonds are formed. And of course, we all looked at a lot of diamonds on Valentine's Day, didn't we, with the Ultimate Fashion History Burton Taylor Jewelry episode. So we all know that diamonds come from the mantle of the earth, but it turns out they come from a very particular part of the mantle, a thing called a craton, and cratons are quite rare, which makes diamonds so valuable. Are any of you wearing diamonds at the moment? Maybe you have a diamond engagement ring or a diamond on your watch. Take a look at it now, because what I'm about to tell you, if you don't already know it, I didn't know it, will blow your mind. When I was watching this episode, I could not take my eyes off my own engagement ring. So we all know diamonds are old, right? Well, my ring comes from the Edwardian era, and I used to be so excited that my ring came from an era when people dressed like this. Imagine how excited I was to learn that diamonds, brace yourselves, are between 1 and 3.5 billion years old. billion years old. So never mind my ring coming from an era when people dressed like this. Our diamonds come from an era when the world looked like this. This predates even Pangaea, which, by the way, is my favorite supercontinent. See, fashion history is everywhere. What else did I watch this week? I caught this really nifty documentary on CuriosityStream called Frank Sinatra or America's Golden Age. It's a biography of Frank Sinatra, of course, but it really talks about how Frank helped create and then promote that post-war atomic age lifestyle that we all know and love. There was some wonderful color footage of Bobby Soxers, so that was fun. There was also some great atomic age design and architecture. But of course, fashion history, it reminded me so much of what a really unique sense of style that Frank Sinatra had. He did wear the conservative mainstream garb of his time, but in such a relaxed and casual and cool way. Anyway, I recommend it. It was great fun. What else did I watch? Around the World in 80 Treasures with the lovely Dan Cruikshank. Basically, a travel show. He goes around the world and tells the story of cultures and people by looking at a particular treasure. And in the episode that I caught, he was in Peru and discussing this. It's called the Sipan spider necklace, and it dates from about 1800 years ago, and it is an artifact, a necklace, fashion history, see what I did there, that was found in the tomb of someone we now call the Lord of Sipan. It looks pretty cool there, right? But if I zoom in, you'll see that the gold is actually lattice worked, that beautiful swirling spider web with the king, the emperor, the lord, we're not really sure who he is, depicted in the center of each of these gold discs. Well, I was so in love with this that I decided to dig a little deeper because my own research that I did last year into pre-Columbian and Mesoamerican cultures and fashion started with the Maya. So although I'd heard of the Moche culture, I didn't really know all that much about it. So this prompted a little visit to CuriosityStream, where I watched this hour-long documentary called The Lord of Sipan, and it gets the weekly prize for Best Fashion History on the small screen. It was incredible, with the most amazing reenactments and costumes. Of course, there was a lot of talk of the actual artifacts found in this tomb, like this incredible beaded necklace made out of shells, these tiny little beads, and they still don't know how they formed such tiny little beads. Look at that. It's sort of adorable, isn't it? The Moche culture loved gold and copper and really worked metallics in a big way. Look at that necklace. I love the expression on all those little gold faces, sort of like they're going, "Err." The Moche people were really into anthropomorphic stuff. Look at that guy with his octopus legs. And look at this crab man. I love him. The documentary did a wonderful job explaining the importance of makeup to the Moche people and recreated some wonderful makeup looks. Now, I haven't been able to find out if every piece of jewelry worn in this documentary, in the reenactments and recreations, was made from scratch or if they were allowed to borrow the actual stuff. Either way, it was incredible. It even featured the famous peanut necklace. You can see it on that actor there, and here it is in the museum. Gold and silver. The peanut was not just a snack to the Moche people. This isn't like having a Snickers necklace. The peanut was very symbolic. I love this documentary so much. If you can find it, watch it. You'll love it. And the whole thing reminded me that, yes, I really have to put the narration on my Inca, Aztec, Mayan episodes. Got to get onto that project. Well, I hope you enjoyed our first episode of Small Screen Fashion History this week. You can write to me through my website, yes, amandahallay.com. Tell us what you've been watching on the small screen on our Facebook group. Join up. We always have fun over there. Check out our books on Dean Street Press. I'll be back very soon with more episodes on the UFH, so just click that little circle to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and keep watching the UFH on this small screen. Bye for now.